Morning YouTube, this is Chuck Jennels of C&S Mining and Manufacturing in Arizona. This video is about modifying dredges, and you'll notice in this video I've got two dredges here in my shop. The one on the left is a 3-inch Keen, and it's a floating dredge, it's a flare jet. The one on the right is a 3-inch Gold King, and it's a crash box style. The difference is the one on the left usually is on pontoons, and I'll show you what those are here in a second. So these are the pontoons for the 3-inch flare jet. You can see the racking for it, and the dredge just sits on that racking and pins down, and it floats on the river, where the other dredge is on legs and it just stands on the bank edge. So here in Arizona, this is the dredge we use, the one with the legs. And the crash box. We just don't have the water year-round to use a flare jet much. When we do, we can use the flare jet, but mostly we use this crash box type. Now what I'm going to show you is some of the changes I've made to this box. And it's pretty simple. It's a 3/8 punch plate that's inside. Changed the crash box. This is, I built this crash box, but this is a where you hook your hose in, and the Gold King used a threaded fitting where you thread your hose into, and this one's just a quicker connect with the T-handle. The next change is I've gone to a 3/8 punch plate, and this punch plate is held down with this wing nut that I painted red, obviously, so I don't lose it. And underneath this punch plate, as you can see, these are, I call them chevrons, and they're a 3/4 inch piece of flat bar that I've bent and mounted on the punch plate. So when your material hits in the back, it comes in under, hits this first chevron, it splits the material, and it splits it 2 times, and it splits it 3 times here. The whole idea of it is just to get it so it slows down the material. As you slow down the material, the gold drops out. So underneath that, we've got raised expanded metal. That the raised side is like a little riffle. So this will help catch all your fines. Under that is miner's moss, that's what this is, and under that is just rib matting. So we got layers of catching type material for different sizes of gold, and it just does so much better. This box, now after this modification and that changed up punch plate here, all my gold, or at least 99% of it, is right here underneath the crash box. Now just to make sure that if any fine gets through, we've changed the lower end of the box also. So in this lower end, what I've done, I've changed this lower end so that underneath, instead of having carpet like it came with, you can see the green miner's moss, and it's full length clear up to the punch plate. And below that, or I'm sorry, above that is more raised expanded, and it goes full length over top of the miner's moss. So again, it's like having little riffles all the way down to the bottom of the dredge. So anything that does escape the upper end where the punch plate is will be caught on this lower end. Now looking at the flare jet, I've made modifications too. You notice the flare jet has a damper on it. This is the damper. It's just a rubber mat that helps flatten out your surface water. So if it's carrying gold, it just pull it, settle it down. And this is a raised woven wire type of grizzly. Now up under the header, where the header would be, this is the head end of the box, Keen puts in an aluminum plate that goes underneath this tab. And on top of that aluminum plate, there's a rubber mat that catches the gold. Unfortunately, what happens as the material comes up, it wedges that aluminum plate in, and you have to fight to get it out. And their theory is, well, you can see the gold you have laying on that plate. And I'm not really interested in seeing it, I'm interested in catching it. So what I've done is I've taken that plate out, I've installed raised expanded, as you can see, and below that miner's moss. And so this is real similar to the other box, and in that the head end here is set up almost identical, and it has the rubber mat also underneath now, full length. So whatever is coming down out of the flare, when it spreads and hits that, it's going to catch. First it takes the big rocks off with the woven wire, and then you go to the raised expanded with the little riffles, the miner's moss, and then the ribbed matting. So and that's the modifications. Yeah, that's the only ones I made here, but it made a huge difference in this box and what it catches. So these are just some of the modifications I made to these two boxes, and it's worked out great on both of them. I get very little gold down below the punch plates. The flare jet I get a little bit more because of the way it spreads the material. The crash box, the material hits in the front of the box and goes down the slope to the back and onto the punch plate. So it slows down a lot more, and I don't get the travel down the dredge that I do on the flare. But they still both catch really good. And these are just some of the adjustments I've made to these boxes. Some of it takes a little bit of welding, some of it just takes a couple pieces of metal, like the punch plate and the expanded metal. And it's something just about anybody can do, and it will improve your catching of gold and where it's at in your box. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.